Hi, and welcome to the Magnificent Misfits podcast, where we intimately explore the lives of successful misfits, delving beyond their achievements to reveal the human stories behind their triumphs. A misfit is anyone who has taken on a journey different from their peers who come from a similar background and who have dared to walk on an undiscovered path. Their stories and journey will hopefully inspire other misfits to carve their own paths. Join me, Sid, as I meet and interact with these amazing people to discuss their life stories. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Magnificent Misfits podcast. As always, we try to bring in some amazing guests to share their life stories, to hopefully inspire us to feel better about ourselves and also to feel inspired to do more in life and to make the most of life. And today I have another interesting guest with me, Tara Pondicherry. I will do an introduction to Tara and we'll get chatting after that. So, Tara is the founder of Life Artistry, a personalized matchmaking and personality development platform, and co founder at Plot Bunny Studios, a digital advertising firm. Tara has a background in the human resources and has led HR functions for various organizations in her past life. She has worked for and led HR initiatives at major corporates such as Franklin Templeton, Times of India, MIA Estates, before finally deciding to turn entrepreneur. Tara is also an artist dealing with the mixed media textured art and an author writing mostly about philosophy. You will find a lot of her work on her very popular Instagram page, which I will share with you on the show notes. On the personal front, Tara is a mom to a rockstar 12-year-old girl and a baby doggy, and she's happily married to the love of her life. I have to tell you, our theme for today's conversation is single motherhood, entrepreneurship, and finding love again. I have to thank Tara to agree to do this for being so forthright in speaking about her personal life. She has done this in the past, and I'm sure there are many people who will feel inspired listening to her experiences and her journey. Once again, thank you, Tara, for doing this, and welcome to the Magnificent Misfits podcast.
Hey Siddharth, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm more than elated to talk about my story and my journey and help all your listeners in some way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely, Tara. It is a pleasure having you. And just to get this going and just to get this kick started, it'll be great to get a little bit of an introduction of you. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? What was early life like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a true-blooded Hyderabadi girl, born and raised in Hyderabad. I did my schooling there. I went to college in Hyderabad. I come from a Tamilian background with mom, dad, and a younger brother who is about 9 years younger to me, and that's my family background. Having stayed in Hyderabad, I think it gave me a great sense of being rooted, laid back, and also ambitious at the same time. And of course, a foodie for life. So that's a little bit about Hyderabad and where I come from. In terms of my education, I have always been in convents all my life, which I think gave me a great foundation of English and literature and kind of set me forth on that path. Apart from that, I've just been a normal graduate in commerce. Didn't think of studying further. Was always very keen on working and earning and getting onto the corporate ladder very early on in life. So that's a little bit about where I come from.
Okay, awesome. And also about your career, how did you start off? You mentioned you studied commerce. How did you end up in HR, and what was that journey like? And finally, till the point where you decided to turn entrepreneur, what was that journey like?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting journey, and to be very honest, it gives a lot of insight into the kind of person I am. So I've always followed my heart, Siddharth. I have always been someone who, never listened to what others had to say, never went by societal standards or, stereotypical ways of living life. And this was very early on that I found, this rebellious attitude in me very early on in life. And it reflected very, very highly in my career choices. So, yeah, having said that, I studied commerce. My first job was with Franklin Templeton Investments as a technical recruiter. I did land a couple of other campus offers, but I decided to go with Franklin Templeton because I just felt the role at that point in time was most interesting. So I was with them for a couple of years. Then was in HR for about 2-3 years, and then I felt that I could do more, and there was this itch in me as always to explore other industries. And then I joined Times of India, where I did a little bit of editorial work. I was also into sales, and it was a multi-dimensional, multi-faceted role. Again, I was there with them for a little while. Post that, I realized that okay, I might not really be interested in marketing and hardcore sales. So that's when I decided to move back to HR. That's when I had some great experience with Apple here in Bangalore, leading their offshore development center. I was head of HR for APAC. I grew into that role quite beautifully. And yeah, HR was my bread and butter, and the whole angle of dealing with people and being with people day in and day out is something that I absolutely loved about the role. And I think I can say that I was quite a successful recruiter as well. So all in all, working for these companies, driving culture, understanding what diversity and inclusion is, meeting so many kinds of people, handling leaders, CEOs, founders. It was quite a fulfilling journey of about 12 and a half years. Post 12 and a half years, I realized that okay, I think I'm hitting my saturation point again. And I was, to be very honest, sick of being part of the corporate bandwagon. I wanted to very desperately get off that. I wanted my own, flexible time. I wanted to own my time. And also creatively, I was writing a lot on the side. I was doodling and painting, and, the whole creative side of me kind of took over. That's when I decided to make the jump. Quite a huge, transition to make after 12 and a half years and after being around, what, 35. So, but nevertheless, as I said, I'm someone who does have a rebellious attitude, and I don't go by societal or stereotypical measures or standards. So I decided, okay, let's go ahead with this, guns on blazing. And yeah, here I am, 2.5 years in after my career transition, and I've written a book which I am painfully editing still.
Amazing.
Hopefully, which it should be published in the next quarter. Apart from writing and art, I think I've developed quite a decent portfolio. I've also started a couple of companies, and it's been a very interesting journey, and I don't think I'm going to deviate from this journey hereafter.
Amazing. What is the book out about, out of curiosity?
Yeah, so basically it is a gritty guide to life, love, and loopholes. There's still a working title that I'm figuring out, but it's a culmination of my own philosophy along with a lot of global examples of how a human should actually live life, and how they can maximize their potential. So there are a list of values that I have highlighted, like the greatness of honesty, like the greatness of resilience, and stuff like that. It can be an intense read. It's not a light read, so giving everyone a heads up on that front.
Wow, that sounds
Yeah,
very interesting and deep, so look
yeah,
forward to when that comes out.
yeah. Thank you, thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. So, Tara, let's now move into, what the theme of our conversation is today. And
Yeah.
I, of course, know a lot more about your personal life, and you have shared that with me. Yeah. So, if you could tell our listeners a little bit more about your personal life from the time, let's say, you first got married, you became a mother, and until now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my personal journey has been, of course, full of ups and downs. Like everyone does have their share of problems, so did I have. I was married in 2011. I had my daughter in 2012. That was my first marriage. I had a good run of about 7 years. Actually, not such a great run, which is why it kind of led to a divorce. And having, I think that journey and the lessons that I learned from that personal experience was something that gave me immense strength. It kind of made me believe that anyone can change their destiny, so-called destiny, and so-called path in life whenever they want. The ball is always in your court. I don't believe in excuses, and I think all of that strength came from taking this decision of going ahead with the divorce. The reason being, of course, every individual is entitled to their own happiness. I think you create your own happiness. And while being in a relationship, there are, I think, four very important factors that everyone must look into. I think it is your needs that you need to look into. So it's of course, your emotional needs, your physical needs, your financial needs, and your social needs. I think these four needs, if they are pretty much met, and you're happy in these four spaces, I think it's a successful relationship. And if it fails, in any of these fronts, then yeah, you need to work on it, or it's time to move on, right? So for me, of course, it didn't work out, and having a daughter who was about 4.5 years old, it was quite a tricky situation to actually go ahead with the divorce, take that step, which was a little scary. But again, as I said, I've been a bit of a fighter in my life. And, that's one question I always ask myself when I hit a roadblock in life. Am I a quitter or am I a fighter? And I've written quite extensively about this topic in my book as well. And whenever I ask myself that, I've always come out with the answer that yes, I'm a fighter, I'm not a quitter. And I never settle. So I decided, okay, this is not working out, and no matter what lies ahead, I have to take this step, and this is what is right for me and for my daughter as well. And yes, thankfully, I had quite cooperative divorce, and we're still, good friends and co-parents. And it turned out beautifully. In hindsight, yeah, it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, and it led to so many beautiful doors that opened later on. So that's a little bit about the divorce story and kind of how I got ahead with it. Yeah.
Okay. No, thanks. Thanks for sharing that, Tara. I mean, it's very candid of you to share that. I actually wanted to kind of go to the point where, you decided to get that divorce and zero in a little bit on that, because that is
Yeah.
a phase that is tough for a lot of people, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
for single mothers or single parents in general.
Yes.
What were
Yeah.
some of the emotions at that time?
Mm.
What were some of the challenges, both internal within you and external,
Mm.
that you faced and you had to overcome during that phase?
Yeah. So, see, one thing that was very prevalent during that phase was, of course, heightened emotions, also inertia, right? There's always this sense of this comfort zone, even if you are stuck in a bad situation in life. There is a lot of inertia towards change. So I think to overcome that inertia and to take that first step is always very challenging. But then again, if you can, overcome that and almost, trick your mind or force your mind to overcome, that challenge in your mind, it's all in the mind. If you're able to do that, then fantastic. Second is, I think it is supremely important to have the right set of people around you and a great support system, without which it does become even more challenging, especially for women. If they don't have the financial support or emotional support of parents and friends, etc., then it becomes very, very hard. But nevertheless, it's still at the end of the day your life. And as I said, this attitude of wanting to fight your way through has to be there. Otherwise, you're just going to give away your life and you'll be leading a fake life. And that's a decision that everyone needs to that's a question everyone needs to ask themselves first. So, yeah, I think being able to take that first step will set the ball rolling. And that's what helped me at least.
Were you always a fighter, or did you become the strong person through time, through tough circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed that question because I am a huge crybaby. I am the most sensitive. Growing up, I was a huge introvert. But I think somewhere during my school years, I don't know, there were certain instances where I was kind of pushed by by my dad, especially to kind of overcome this confidence issue that I had. And I think once that shell broke, then I was very, very confident. But I still am a bit of a crybaby. It took me a lot of I think meeting a lot of tough people and going through so many tough situations in life. It's made me definitely a little more stronger. But I still am quite a crybaby.
Okay. Going back to that phase, right? I want to understand you. I also want to kind of place in my head where you were in terms of your career, and how
Hmm.
did you kind of navigate? I'm guessing you were working at the time. How did you navigate that and going through the divorce and becoming
Yeah.
a single parent again?
Yeah.
What was that process like?
Oh, it was extremely hard so that I wasn't working. I was doing, I think, some freelance work with a couple of friends. We just started an events company, and that was the time when my daughter was just about in school, and I wanted to dedicate some time with her. So I had taken a legitimate break and wanted to spend time with her. Of course, I was, working as a freelance person for this company, but when the divorce happened, and it was really, really tough because it was not fair to me, I could say, at that point in time, because I had to go through that whole financial angle alone. And I had to actually bounce back. I had to get back on my feet and search for a job, find a job, and start working again. So, yeah, I relentlessly interviewed. I was at it, like a blind horse, I think, on the race field. And I was just at it, interviewing. And I think on some level, I clearly feel that the universe supported me because within about, I think, a month and a half or 2 months, I did land a job that matched my previous salary with almost 100% hike,
Wow.
even after a 3-year break. So I'm extremely grateful, to that company for having given me that opportunity. And yeah, I mean, it's so wonderful to see that there are companies out there to who kind of help single moms and also women who've gone on breaks and who want to come back into the corporate field. So yes, I feel the universe really supported me on that front. And yes, once I landed the job, once I was financially stable, then there was no looking back. I didn't need anyone then.
You mentioned the universe. We'll touch upon that because I know that you have
Yeah.
a spiritual side to you. So
Yeah.
we'll maybe chat about that a little later. What was like the change in, let's say, what were the kind of conversations you had with your daughter? I know she was pretty young then. How did
Yeah.
she handle it, and how were you handling her handling that situation?
Yeah. So I'm immensely blessed to have my daughter with me. She is an extremely matured kid. She is supremely practical. She's supremely intelligent. If I'm a go-getter, she is my bap, as they would say in Hyderabadi lingo. She is like my guru in terms of being a leader and an all-rounder. So she was extremely mature about it, and we handled it in a very beautiful way because I had my mom come and stay with me during those first couple of years, and so that helped a lot. So there was a very strong foundation at home with mom and me being there. And of course, my ex-husband also, did play a reasonable role of being in touch. So I didn't break the story of being divorced, and I didn't introduce that label to her. Only until after a couple of years, we always maintain the story that Papa's busy, he's on work, and he has to stay in another house because of work. And in hindsight, I think that was absolutely right in terms of that decision that we took, because when a kid is 4 and 5, they are not able to process why parents are not staying together, and that could really harm them emotionally. So we kind of protected her from this harsh truth. And only when it was I think later on, moving on, when I did meet my significant other, that's when that's when I decided to break the whole divorce term and all of that to her. So, but she took it beautifully. As I said, she's a rock star in my life. She's the one who's given me even more of a backbone and strength. And I am what I am because of her on some level. And yeah, she took it very, very like in her stride, and she was like, okay, that's fine, it happens. And she's always been a happy kid, touch wood. So I got very lucky on that front.
And before, of course, I move on to the part of you finding love again, was there a phase before that when you felt like you had lost faith somewhat in the concept of partnership or marriage? Was there that phase also that you had?
Not at all. So I've always been a great believer of love, quite a huge romantic at heart to the point of oblivion sometimes in some of the decisions and relationships I've had in the past. But I have no regrets. I think this whole belief and faith that I have in love and marriage, never depleted or changed. I believe that marriage, you can't blame an institution. I think you need some work to do on yourself, or you're probably with the wrong person. I don't think you can blame the institution. Yes, it probably works for few people, it doesn't work for others, but I don't think there's anything wrong with marriage per se. And I've always been an old school and an old soul. So for me, marriage structure and security and all of that, I think it's absolutely wonderful. So I never for once flinched about whether I shouldn't be married again. No, I'm always hopeful, and I love the concept of marriage and the institution. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Which of course brings me to now how you kind of navigated finding love again or dating again.
Yeah.
And of course that would be, that would be pretty interesting to know and hear about. And especially
Yeah.
being a single mom, it's very different from being,
Yeah.
let's say, single and not being a parent, right? So
Yeah.
how was that process for you? What were some of the confusions, thoughts, inputs you got?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's quite a funny story. So I remember during my divorce, after the divorce happened, I got a ton of calls, from cousins, friends from all over the world, because I had written this post on Facebook saying that this is what has happened, and I'm looking forward to the next stage. I've always been an open book, always been a writer, so my life is pretty much written somewhere online. So I remember after that post, I got a ton of calls, and everyone was feeling so sorry about it, and they were so concerned. And I was like, no, it's time to celebrate. This is a chance for me to actually move on and meet some new people. And I had made my peace about, I think I had done my whole grieving and getting over, my ex and the marriage part of it. So I was really looking forward to this new phase and very excited about it. And when the time was right, yes, a couple of my friends told me, why don't you get onto your infamous dating apps? And that's when actually Tinder had launched in India. So I was quite excited to get on, and it was me being in the dating game after almost 7, 8 years. And yeah, I mean, back then Tinder was beautiful. I did meet some really amazing people. I was quite shocked to see the caliber and quality of people there. And but I also think that me being a recruiter, I almost rejected the whole of Bangalore and only shortlisted, I think, some 3, 4 people that I wanted to meet. And yeah, luckily one of that was Rajiv, who is my husband today. And yeah, so we hit it off. We met when we met. We went on dates. We It was really beautiful, very cute as well. We met every day for that first week, and he also has a daughter, similar age as my daughter. And I think it was very beautiful because his story and my story pretty similar in terms of what we went through in our marriages, etc. And he shares a very healthy co-parenting relationship with his ex-wife as well. And we introduced the girls, both our daughters, and it was really cute. They were really small then, and we just said we are friends, and that was the start of our little family again. So we would meet every weekend, just the four of us, do fun stuff with the kids. For Ayana, of course, Rajiv became like Rajiv uncle, who's this fun guy who takes us everywhere. And I, of course, became Tara auntie to his daughter. But it was very cute. After, of course, few years, we did a lot of traveling, etc. The girls started figuring out that there is something going on between the two of us, and they would giggle and they would be like, "We know there's something going on. We saw you holding hands, or we saw this cute picture of y'all," and they would giggle and blush and. It was really cute, and yeah, when the time was right, we dated for about 5 years, and that's when we decided to move in. We moved in, my daughter and along with Rajiv, and that's before that we kind of broke it to the girls and we said, we are in love and this is what it is, and they were very sweet about it, and because they got along so well, they were like, we knew it, and all of that. So it was very cute, very cute. And yeah, we moved in, and then yeah, just last year, Rajiv and me got married, and we had both our daughters on the mandap as well. So with all our family and close friends, so it was really, really beautiful. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so beautiful to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah. You mentioned that you dated for 5 years before you decided
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
married. Was that
yeah.
time more for you or for your daughter, for Rajiv's daughter, all of you to kind of get comfortable? Was that why you took time?
Yes, yes. I mean, it made sense to give it time. Of course, firstly, to normalize the relationship for our children. At the end of the day, they are our priority. And of course, for us also to kind of navigate if there are, of course, no relationship is perfect. And so we had to navigate through so many fronts for Rajiv and me also. It's not easy after 30, 33, 34 to find someone new, and because we all become rigid in our own ways and stuff. So, of course, navigating all those little and tweaking all those little things, and it did take some time. And we didn't want to rush into anything at all. We were not in a hurry. We were very happy with whatever was happening, and when it was the right time, yeah, we took that step.
And before, of course, I jump into some of the other stuff, I wanted to ask you, what is the
Yeah.
advice you would give to, I mean, it should be apparent by now what your advice is, but what is the
Hmm.
advice you will give to single mothers who probably are looking to kind of, find a partner, restart their life?
Hmm.
What are some tips you would give more than advice?
I think firstly, everything lies on hope. I think hope is such a beautiful thing to have. It might be scary, but without hope, it's a dead life. You're not even alive. So always have the hope, have that undeterred faith that things will work out, and it will. I'm a complete believer of manifestation and positive thinking, and I believe the thoughts that you keep reiterating to yourself eventually becomes reality. And I've been a complete example of it because I've always been extremely positive in my mind, irrespective of whatever situation I might have faced. I've always forced myself to have positive thoughts, and I think that's huge. So always have faith, never give up, always believe everything will work out for the best. Second is I feel, this generation, we all want everyone else to be perfect. I feel that people need to understand to be realistic. I feel you need to put in more, energy into thinking and improving your own self than expecting someone else to be this perfect person who's going to come and take care of all your worries and rescue you. I think you have to rescue yourself first. And just realistic expectations. Nobody's perfect. You need to be a team. And also, love is a verb. It's action. It's not a noun. So you need to keep working on your relationship. You need to. Everything is work at the end of it. Nothing is all rosy and hunky dory. You have to put in the effort, and yeah, have realistic expectations about your partner. And yeah, that's, I think, these two things I would like to advise. Yeah.
Okay, excellent, lovely. I like the expression you use that love is a verb and not, so it's an
Hmm.
action. It requires a lot of effort. So yeah,
Hmm.
amazing. Cool. Okay. So now, Tara, as you know, this podcast is called Magnificent Misfits. So
Yeah.
my question to you is, and I know you do identify with that word, when
Hmm.
did you first realize you are a misfit or different, and why
Hmm.
did you feel so?
So I think when I was probably in my 20s, and
Okay.
when I was jumping around from career to career, I mean industry to industry, like from HR to sales and marketing, and then writing and editorial, and then again HR, and now entrepreneurship. So and creativity, right? So I think that way I've just not gone by conventional standards, and I don't think I ever will. And that is something which is very liberating for me. So I don't believe in following rules. I believe in creating my own rules, and I think that requires someone to be a misfit. And yeah, as I said, just being unapologetic about my decisions and who I am, and it started very early on in life. So yeah, that's yeah.
Okay. And were you in any way perturbed or bothered by the fact that, oh, you know what, I'm a little different from the other people I see around me and the way I think or the way I act? Or were you very comfortable in your skin even at that time?
I was very comfortable in my skin. I
Okay.
was always the one giving gyan. I still am the one giving gyan. I've learned that unsolicited gyan is bad, but otherwise, otherwise, no. I'm very, very comfortable in my own skin and very confident about, who I am at the end of it. Yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
next question, okay?
Hmm.
What is the choice you made in life or in your career that you had doubts about at the time,
Hmm.
but that worked wonders for you in the long run?
I think this shift from HR to being creative and to start from scratch to pursue my all my creative pursuits. I think that was a bit of a I had a bit of a scare, of course, because it's quite late in life, to make a career switch. And and I was doing extremely well in HR, and I was in a senior leadership role, and it was a little tricky to kind of give up all of that and to start from scratch. uh, but in hindsight now, it's been about 2.5 3 years into being an entrepreneur and pursuing art, and I couldn't thank myself enough because of the freedom I have, because of the flexibility I have, and just owning and being answerable for my own failures and or achievements is very, very liberating.
Okay, amazing. The
Yeah.
next one. So, what
Hmm.
would you say is the biggest failure you've experienced in life, and how did you come out of it?
I think failures, of course, I've had a ton. Also, I think, being rebellious, being impulsive, uh, also, it's like a double-edged sword. Of course, I had to bear the other side of it also, where, certain impulsive decisions, of course, didn't lead to the right outcome. I think there were many tiny failures throughout
Yeah.
my life, some big, some small. But I think one thing that helped me got out was always, my spirituality. This was very early on in life. I think it was, a breakup that I had with a college sweetheart. And I think I remember then it was a very, very tough breakup for me. And I think that's when I kind of turned to spirituality a little more, and I picked up the Bhagavad Gita, and that's when I read the Bhagavad Gita, and I think that kind of established a very a grounding sense in me. And whenever I've had any kind of downs or lows, I always look towards my spirituality and my faith, and it's always helped me overcome or center me at least, to move ahead during those situations.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, Tara, now we move on to the last section of the podcast. Okay, so this is called shorts.
Yeah.
What happens in this section is there are these questions I'll ask you which will have a choice. Okay, so agree or
Hmm.
disagree. So you need to
Hmm.
pick one and give a
Hmm.
one line explanation as to why you pick that. A
Hmm.
couple of questions may not have that choice also, but it'll still be like a short answer you need to give. So the first one,
Hmm.
being a single parent made me more determined to succeed in my career. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. I was always extremely ambitious, and I disagree. I was always ambitious, irrespective of the kid or not.
Cool. The next one. I found it challenging to maintain a work life balance while building my business as a single parent.
Yes, I agree. It is extremely difficult because I'm always in a state of missing. So when I'm with my daughter, when I was with my daughter, especially in the growing up years of hers, I would always miss being at work, and when I was at work, I would always miss being with her. So it was very, very difficult to handle that. And of course, with a full-time corporate job comes and a leadership role comes immense, responsibility towards the job. So managing work-life balance was very, very tough there. I agree.
Okay. The next one. Okay. So, finding love later in life positively impacted my journey as an entrepreneur. Agree or disagree?
Oh yes, 100%, absolutely. I agree with that because I think when you do have your personal life sorted, it's kind of one area that is taken care of. You don't have any pending parts that your mind goes to or you're worrying about. So for anybody, I guess, if your personal life is sorted, then you kind of have that space to focus more on your career or your professional life even better.
Great. The next one. You have moments of anxiety, worry, disappointment that you think most people will not understand. Agree or disagree?
Partly agree, partly disagree. I would say because, of course, I do have my lows. Who doesn't? I do have my lows. But I think I've learned how to cope over the years. What works for me, what doesn't work for me, how to distract, how to get over it. There's a proper way that I do it. There's a process to it. And when I catch myself, going down that negative spiral, I know exactly what I need to do. So, and of course, I also have a great set of, best friends and family and loving husband as well, who kind of is always there to support and cheer me up during those times. So yeah, partly agree, disagree.
Okay, awesome. The next one, you have to complete the line, okay?
Okay.
Spirituality to you is, you meaning Tara, is,
Is life and beyond.
that's great. The next one, okay? A piece of advice you would give to a single parent on navigating their life and career, that's maintaining that balance.
I think, of course, while it is supremely important to be financially stable and to provide for the child, I also think it is even more important to dedicate enough time to, spending time with your child. I think more than a great life, materialistically, I think emotionally, if you can be there for your kid, I think that is the greatest life any child would ever want. So don't get worked up if you're not financially there or materialistically there in terms of providing for your child, as long as you're spending enough time and giving the child a loving home and all the love that he or she deserves. I think that is something you need to prioritize.
Okay, excellent. And this is the last question I have for you, okay? Which is
Okay.
a film that inspires you in your times of low, and a book, or maybe even more than one books that inspire you at your times of low.
Okay, so I think I already spoke about the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Would love to throw some light on that. So the Bhagavad Gita, to me, is and will. I mean, I haven't come across any other book, but it's one of the most classical intellectual literature and text that I have ever read. I've read, I'm quite a versatile reader. I've read a lot, and the Gita to me actually summarizes what life is. It is a great, there's some fantastic tips about how you need to navigate through life, because the Gita is about Lord Krishna talking about Arjuna being at war, and how he gives up in life, and he doesn't want to go ahead onto the battleground. But the Gita is what Lord Krishna spoke about, how Arjuna needs to pick himself up and go and be the warrior that he is. And that and so much of the Gita actually resonates with what life actually is and what we go on, what we deal with day in and day out. So I think the Gita it's an exceptional book to kind of have as a guide. At least it helped me immensely, and it still does in my low times. Another book that changed my life was Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. So that book I think I read in college, and it blew my mind because it's about Santiago and how he's on this journey, his personal quest, and how he meets various characters, and
Yeah.
how he believes in finding his destiny. And I think I resonated with that really well, and it helped me look for signs in my life that I think led me to where I am today and will continue to lead me. So these two books I hold very dear to me. Yeah.
Okay. And a movie or a show?
Movie, of course, show is Friends. It's my comfort zone always. So I always go back to Friends. It's my favorite show in the world. Apart from that, a movie would be, I think, Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks and
Okay.
Meg Ryan, since I'm a total rom-com buff and also quite a romantic at heart. I think that film is very, very, very beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Tara, this has been amazing, and I am very sure and confident that so many people listening to this, not just necessarily single parents, but anyone listening to this is going to draw a lot of inspiration from the stuff you have shared today. And thanks again for being candid and sharing so much about your personal life. It's not easy, I can imagine, but you're up for it always, and this has been
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much for doing this podcast, and thank you for taking time out.
Thank you, Siddharth. It was absolutely wonderful talking to you as always, and wishing you all the best. And hopefully, this podcast is going to become world famous, and you
Yes, thank you.
continue you continue to be on this journey as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Tara. Thank you so much. So that was today's episode. Before I wrap up, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, I'd like to ask for your help in spreading the word about the podcast. If you think there's someone in your life who might enjoy listening to the Magnificent Misfits podcast, please consider sharing it with them. Also, if you're active on social media, we'd love for you to give us a shout out and tag us at MN Podcast Show. That's MN Podcast Show. Thank you and see you soon.